What's the craziest or most common finding you've come across while doing an internal security audit?
The craziest finding we've had um, would be we had a client who didn't have a great procedure for getting rid of their old laptops, old computers. Um, Down the road during the internal security audit, or throughout our process, trying to figure out what they're going to do with them, how they're being kept, and how they're being held. To find out, one of the employees, one of the management, actually was simply just giving them away to people, um, unformatted, from what we understand, um, not logged, no receipts. They're not selling them, just gave them away to people he wanted to. Um, that was probably the craziest one I've heard, as far as just why would you do that? Like, this is a huge. I can't think of a single part of that scenario that doesn't scream this is a bad thing to do. Most common one that's also really bad, I've seen, is either simply just bad password management, but more specifically, passwords being um, kept in a shared storage solution, like a Dropbox or Google Drive, just in a plain text file for those who needed to see. That one is one we come across more frequently than I'd like to admit. It's probably not great.
I think that probably, I don't know, maybe more of the side of most common as opposed to craziest in my response, but I think probably most common is it seems that a lot of times it's related to different policies and procedures that are, if they do have them in place, they aren't necessarily accurate or being followed, or um, you know employees being aware and compliant with them. It seems that a lot of times, of course, there's always or usually going to be some sort of documentation missing, but it seems that a lot of times there's definitely the case of it's on paper, it's in writing somewhere, but when you look at what's in writing, it doesn't match up with what's actually in practice. And so that, of course, can pose an issue because, the basis of or the purpose of, a lot of these security policies is to keep the business safe. And so, if we just throw something on a piece of paper and forget about it, or don't abide by those recommendations or requirements, then at the end of the day, that can potentially open up, risk for your business.
Oh man, I should look back through some. Finding out that um, different regions of an organization didn't weren't talking to each other and didn't have the same processes in place for simple things like IT procurement, and some didn't have antivirus, some did. Uh, just the lack of communication across an entire region, entire regions.
Oh boy. Huh. Back on that one. I think a lot of times what I find most surprising in a lot of our audits is as part of our process, we'll have a lot of teams weigh in on the system from their own vantage point. And a lot of times, different teams will have completely different understandings about how a system works or how it's used, or even what its purpose is sometimes. And I think that goes to show in a lot of cases that even like existing security solutions that might be in place, like let's say a VPN, right? Companies will purchase a bunch of licenses for a VPN, and some people will use them on some teams, and other, maybe management doesn't advise it enough, but other teams don't even know about it, don't utilize it at all. And I think that's where a big role of leadership comes into play with something like implementing these audit changes, is that, you know, it's great to make these additional security controls like a VPN, but if there's nothing really like to enforce it across the company or to make it like widespread knowledge that it's there and how to use it, I mean, it might as well not be there in that case. And yeah, it's always a little surprising to see sometimes when they have actually what should be a pretty robust security system that's just not in use.